Coming up tonight, MPs clash over the emergency orders. Plus, a Christian council says no to marijuana. And what road traffic is doing to cut down on long lines.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs. Topping news tonight, the debate on the resolution to extend the state of emergency to November 30th led to heated showdowns among members of parliament today. While F&M MPs insisted extending the order is the right move, opposition leader Philip Brave Davis insisted the Bahamas has become an example of how to mismanage a pandemic. Jasmine Brown reports.
Leading off the debate for the resolution to extend the state of emergency was North Abaco MP and Minister for Foreign Affairs Darren Henfield. Henfield told parliamentarians that the fact of the matter is the pandemic is not going anywhere anytime soon, and because of that, the country is likely to continue going through cycles of tightening and loosening of restrictions.
The pandemic is not close to being over. It will last well into next year. In fact, the world and the Bahamas may be currently heading into the worst period of the pandemic.
Henfield was one of only a handful of cabinet ministers present in Parliament on Monday. The majority of cabinet ministers are in quarantine until next week after they were exposed to Public Works Minister Desmond Bannister during a cabinet meeting last Tuesday. Bannister tested positive for COVID-19 the following day. Given the country's soaring cases of COVID-19, Henfield insisted anyone who says the emergency powers are not necessary in the current crisis is being irresponsible.
Our government is serious about leading. We simply don't have the luxury of Monday morning quarterbacking. We must lead now. And so we are not afraid to make the tough decisions to save lives. We also balance our public health policy making with the need to keep the economy going, so more Bahamians can make a living.
Opposition leader Philip Brave Davis also contributed to the debate. He said his party simply could not support another extension as he believes the government has continued to mishandle the pandemic.
Our country has become a case study for how not to manage a public health crisis.
Davis went on to insist the country is in crisis for reasons that span from failed leadership to failure to execute a proper strategy to contain the second wave of COVID-19. It prompted a heated back and forth between Davis and Golden Gates MP Michael Folks.
Where is the data, therefore, that informs the advice that justifies a 7 p.m. curfew as opposed to a 10 p.m. curfew? Where is the proof, the data or advice? Right, that confirms that weekend lockdowns are effective and that the benefits outweigh the harms. Where is it? Lay that down.
Yes, again misleading, Mr. Speaker, because we know for a fact that they did not show up to the meeting. Mr. Speaker, they didn't show up to the meeting.
Member,
How can you ask for the information and where is the basis of the information when you invited to the meeting to give you that same information and you do not attend?
Honorable members.
How could you, Mr. Speaker?
Could you? Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Legalizing marijuana is not the way to go, according to Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernanda. Fernanda said the focus should be on programs and initiatives that uplift, and legalizing the drug is not the answer. Julian Gray has that.
The Christian community is not sold on the idea of legalizing marijuana. Weighing in on the issue today, two local pastors say marijuana will not solve the country's issues.
Obviously, seemingly, this seems to be the savior they believe. And we are saying as the Christian Council that we are not for it, and we ought to be careful as a nation walking down this path.
Do we want to be a nation that profits from selling drugs, which is what marijuana is?
While the Bahamas National Commission on Marijuana recommended legalizing medicinal marijuana, the Economic Recovery Committee proposed full legalization of the drug for medicinal, religious, and recreational purposes, a point that the Prime Minister highlighted last week and said the government was considering it. Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernanda said it's unfortunate that out of all of the recommendations put forth by the ERC, the Prime Minister chose to highlight that one.
We are good at implementing, and not good at planning. We're good at putting things in place without thinking about the long-term consequences on our young men and young women. And the challenge is this the best we could do?
Minnis said the government would begin expunging the records of people convicted for possession of small amounts of the drug next year. Decriminalizing possession of up to 1 ounce of the drug was also suggested by the Marijuana Commission. Pastor of BFM, Dave Burrows, said while he agrees that it is unfortunate that young men are held back because of a criminal record, the answer may not be to get rid of the penalty, but to simply reduce it.
It may be too harsh to have someone not be able to get a job, not be able to go to college because they smoked a joint. However, I think we do have to balance it with the fact that marijuana is a mind-altering drug. I'm actually in favor of reducing the penalty, but not eliminating the penalty. So if it's a civil penalty, if it's a citation or something like that, I understand it. But the complete removal of the penalty, I'm not in favor of.
The decision of legalizing marijuana may need to go to a referendum, according to Bishop Fernandez, who says simple surveys can sometimes be misconstrued. Now, the Christian Council president said they do intend to give the government recommendations as well as speak with the Prime Minister, but that will all be done after they see the finer details of what the government intends to do. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
According to police, ex-cop John Dames was found by relatives at the rear of the home. They say he also had injuries to his body. Family members say the man was a taxi driver but didn't wish to comment further. Police initially described his death as an apparent suicide but quickly changed it to a death investigation. An autopsy will be performed to determine Dames' exact cause of death. Meanwhile, a noted pastor delivering a blistering rebuke of the competent authority. Bishop Neil Ellis slammed Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis over his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Ellis accused the Prime Minister of, among other things, killing the economy. Bertha McDermott reports.
In a sermon on Sunday, Mount Tabor Senior Pastor Bishop Neil Ellis unloaded on Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, accusing him and other members of cabinet of having a God complex. He also slammed some members of Parliament, calling them spineless. Bishop Ellis told his congregation that too much power vested in one man can be dangerous.
It's a dangerous thing when you start acting like a god. It's a dangerous thing when you got all power wrapped up in your hands. It's a dangerous thing when you're the only person in the country who can determine who goes and who stays, who has a funeral in a church and who else go to the graveyard. It's a dangerous thing for you to decide who gets to come in private and who else got to stay locked down.
He didn't stop there. Ellis said the competent authority is insulting the intellect of the Bahamian people, killing the economy, parading on democracy, and humiliating business owners and entrepreneurs. He also accused the Prime Minister of being godless.
Your one-man stand is killing our economy. And it sure doesn't help when the one in the chair does not believe in God.
Additionally, he said COVID-19 restrictions have been in place too long. His comments came one day before Parliament met to extend the state of emergency to November 30th, a decision that seems to not be sitting well with the bishop.
It was all right for the first 2 or 3 months while everybody was trying to get their composure and understand this virus, but 8 months in, if you're going to ask for an extension, at least make a case. Don't just come, I want an extension for another month, and hook, look, and sinker. All of your men and women vote for it.
Quickly coming to the defense of the Prime Minister, F&M Chairman Carl Culmer took issue with the bishop's claim that the Prime Minister does not believe in God. Culmer, in a statement, called the charge extremely offensive, absurd, and irresponsible, asserting that Dr. Minnis is well known to be a Christian and a member of the Catholic community. Culmer also argued the Prime Minister is using legal emergency powers approved by Parliament to help prevent the spread of the virus, and that he is consulting with health experts, his cabinet, parliamentarians, the business community, and civil society before making decisions. Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernandez also weighed in, advising that Ellis has confirmed to him that it wasn't his intention to say that Dr. Minnis didn't believe in God. However, he advised politicians to be careful of demonizing pastors.
I want us to really be careful The Bible is clear that the prophet is answerable to the prophet. Someone must speak out for those who cannot speak out for themselves. And I want to advise all politicians that when sermons seemingly aren't of your liking, be very careful about demonizing the voice piece of God.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Threats by private companies to disconnect water supplies to Bahamian communities are unacceptable. That's according to Water and Sewage Chairman Adrian Gibson, who told Parliament today that the same company that shut off the water supply to Central Eleuthera last week has threatened the same on other islands.
And a letter sent to us a few months ago, he threatened the water supply to Eleuthera, San Salvador, and Inagua. Mr. Speaker, even now, in the face of all that they have done, to them, it is still all about the money.
Gibson insisted that any threat to disconnect any island of this country is beyond the pale. He also noted that they have had similar threats in South Eleuthera and were told that in order to increase water output, we would have to sign a 2-year contract extension, increase guaranteed amounts, and pay more money.
These actions, any actions, and these actions have been taken, leaving our communities in peril. It speaks to a lack of a conscience.
Gibson told The Guardian on Sunday that Water and Sewage Corporation was forced to acquire an injunction Thursday night after its water supplier in Central Eleuthera cut production because of a disagreement about arrears. He said yesterday that Water and Sewage has paid the company roughly $4 million in payments for the year. He said $700,000 was transferred to the water supplier in the days before the water supply was shut off, and $1 million has been paid to the supplier in September. Well, it's time now for our first check on weather with meteorologist Greg Thompson. Good night, Greg.
Thanks, Jared. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather being brought to you tonight by Grand Bahama Power Company. Outside our studios, we have partly cloudy skies, temperatures a little warmer at 80 degrees. Winds out of the southeast at 5 knots, feels like temperature around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. On our satellite, moisture associated with what is now Hurricane Zeta is still affecting portions of the Bahamas. Some showers and thunderstorms occurring across mostly the central Bahamas. We expect those conditions to continue throughout the night. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News. Police on Grand Bahama providing an update on a concerning oil spill. Plus, what the Road Traffic Department is doing to cut down on long lines. Stay with us.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
Officers in Grand Bahama say they are following significant leads in regards to the oil dumping near Barbary Beach. Superintendent Teresita Pinder said they have visited several companies and subcontractors on the island.
Officers visited numerous industrial companies and subcontractors of these industrial companies. We are following some leads. We are, at this time, looking into all avenues in regards to this matter. As you well know, that the spillage that occurred, or the dumping that occurred in that area, has significant environmental aspects.
While Pinder could not say how much oil was dumped, she said they suspect it's been there for some time. Pinder said they're taking the matter very seriously, and when the culprits are found, they'll have to pay.
This is something that has significant damage to our environment. I think it has national and international implications. So we're going to consult with our attorneys and maybe also the AG office in regards to what charges will be implemented against them. We are not taking this lightly. We are taking this very seriously. And all avenues with regards to law will be enforced.
The Road Traffic Department plans to open a satellite location in order to reduce the long lines that have plagued the department even in pre-pandemic times. Minister of Labor and Transport Dion Folks addressed the matter at a press conference this afternoon.
Recognizing the importance of servicing motorists in these challenging times, we will soon reopen a satellite agency in New Providence for licensing and inspection of vehicles. This road traffic facility is located at West Bay Street, adjacent to Clifford Park.
Officials were asked whether the government would be willing to allow private sector companies to provide car licensing services in order to make the process more efficient. Acting Road Traffic Controller Bradley Sands says that decision is ultimately up to government, but he would need his personnel in place.
We don't have sufficient satellite stations, and that's why we are reopening the office at Fort Charlotte. As soon as we are able to open the Carmichael Road station, we will be able to alleviate the backlog that exists with the long lines. It all based on the amount of outlets that the road traffic department has. In terms of outsourcing to car companies, that is a decision that the government would have to make. But as the acting controller of road traffic, my concern with that will have to be that a road traffic personnel will have to be at the site to make sure that the vehicles that are being inspected by these dealers are being inspected.
Coming up later tonight on Our TV is On the Front Lines, the newest program in the Our TV weekly lineup. Each week, audiences will get a behind-the-scenes, up-close and personal experience with the men and women who work in law enforcement. The show airs Mondays at 8:30 p.m. on Our TV cable channel 212.
You think people realize the great sacrifices that you all make?
I know so. People, like you say, you'll have people you'll talk bad but you one moment, and then when they're victims, then they're happy to see you. But like I say, we're not fazed by it. We're here to protect and serve. It's our duty. So we just do it. This is what we love to do.
Gun in your face, so you're thinking, but home, there's a lot of things be on your mind, but you have to be justified. Justified with a gun in your face. And you have a split second to think, either you or him.
Every day, these men and women put their lives on the line, providing law enforcement and life-saving exercises. They are on the front lines.
Welcome back. Are you a new driver eager to get on the road? It might be a while before you're able to take that written and practical exam at the Road Traffic Department, though. According to officials, pandemic protocols make it impossible.
In terms of the exams, the practical and the written exams, those exams are on hold until further notice. You must take into account that the exams are held in a very close environment where there are roughly but 5 to 10 persons could be in the room.
Road Traffic Controller Bradley Sands says the department is following protocol, but safety of staff members and clients is paramount.
We have been utilizing our thermometers as well as our hand sanitizers, and with the increase with the COVID cases, we have to take the safety precautions to make sure that our staff and their families are not at risk. So in light of that, we have suspended the driving exams as well as the written exams until we are satisfied, we are given the all clear by the Ministry of Health or the proper authority.
A full breakdown of the weekend sports activities, including Game 5 of the World Series, coming up when Our News returns.
People realize the great sacrifices that you all make.
I know so. People, like you say, you'll have people you'll talk bad but you one moment, and then when they're victims, then they're happy to see you. But like I say, we're not fazed by it. We're here to protect and serve. It's our duty. So we just do it. This is what we love to do.
Gun in your face, so You're thinking about home. There's a lot of things be on your mind, but you have to be justified. Justified with a gun on your face. And you have a split second to think, either you or him.
Every day, these men and women put their lives on the line, providing law enforcement and life-saving exercises. They are on the front lines.
We've got the latest from sports this weekend with Marcellus Hall. Take it away, Marcellus.
Well, fans of baseball, lots to cheer about this past weekend as the Major League Baseball World Series continued with two exciting games on Saturday and then again on Sunday. Let's take a look right now and see exactly how those games shaped up. Major League Baseball's World Series now 5 games deep following Game 4 and 5 over the weekend. Game 4 on Saturday, that saw the Tampa Bay Rays winning in dramatic walk-off fashion, bottom of the ninth, to win this thing 8-7. They tied the series at 2 games apiece. Last night, Dodgers retaking control of the series. They took Game 5 4-2. Big play coming in the 4th inning as Manuel Margot attempts to steal home. He's tagged out of the plate to end the threat. LA now up 3-2. Chance to close out this best-of-7 series tomorrow night in Game 6. A win would give the Dodgers their first World Series title since 1988. Meanwhile, from the NFL, Week 7 set to wrap up this evening with Monday Night Football. The 5-1 Chicago Bears, led by Nick Foles, roll into L.A. They'll take on the Rams there, who are currently 4-2. They're led by quarterback Jared Goff. Quick look now at your Sunday NFL scoreboard. So the World Series does take the night off, but Monday Night Football for you. We'll give you details on that coming up for you tomorrow. Reporting for Our News, I'm Marcellus Hall. That'll do it for this portion of the news. Stay with us. The extended weather forecast up next.
Thanks, Jared. In our second look at weather being brought to you tonight by Grand Bahama Power Company. Satellite-wise, we still have a system out there. It's now Hurricane Zeta approaching the Yucatan Peninsula, starting to get its act together. Some rain bands associated with that system moving across Cuba and affecting portions of the central Bahamas. We will continue to see Zeta moving towards the northwest, and those conditions will continue across the islands. Boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. Winds be out of the southeast 10 to 15 knots. Seas running 2 to 4 feet. We still have some swells out there, so 6-foot swells expected. While in the southeast Bahamas, a caution flag for you guys down there as well. East to southeast winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas running 4 to 7 feet. Low tide will be at 11:41 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Saturday. That's a look at our weather. Have a safe night, everyone.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by Royal Fidelity, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. To get your News on the go, download the RavGo Play app. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Jared Higgs. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.